Yo, what's going on, guys? Matthew B. Haynes here, aka the Clockmaster, and today I'm going to talk to you guys about Dune Prophecy Episode 1. So I want to get this out the way really quickly. If you are like shocked that this video was up and you're like, where the heck has Matthew been? I posted a video prior to this, like previously, like a few days ago. Just go ahead and check that out. That explains everything, what's going on. So I don't want to recap that in this video. And also, there's not going to be a reaction to this episode as well. I explained everything about what I'm going to be doing, at least for now, in terms of content on the channel. And mainly a lot of that is I'm just trying to get a lot of reviews right now, because that's just something I'm a little bit more immediately interested in doing at the moment, as of right now. But it doesn't mean reactions are gone forever, but I want to talk about things. So let's talk about Dune Prophecy Episode 1. Now, when I first heard this announced, like a bunch of other things, I was excited for this. And over the last few months, I haven't really been in the loop for a lot of different things that came out. And I missed a lot of shows, a lot of movies, so everything's coming, but like, I wasn't aware of a lot of things that was going on. So I actually didn't know a lot of too much that was happening with Dune Prophecy, but I knew that prequel was coming and that it was happening. What we did do a reaction to, my wife and I, we did a reaction to Dune 2 on the channel. So if you're new to the channel and you want to see our reaction to that video should be linked somewhere up here or down below, if you guys want to go ahead and check that out. But we did a reaction to that, and obviously, you know, into the Dune franchise and everything like that. And I haven't finished the whole entire book series as yet. I have all the books here in the corner of my desk over here, but they're not done. They haven't been done. So I don't know much about it. So this perspective of my thoughts is mainly going to be coming from someone who just watched the movies primarily and has more of the movie knowledge. So don't expect to find a Dune expert in these reviews. So I will preface this by saying I really actually enjoyed the first episode. I thought there was a lot in there. I thought that there was enough to keep me intrigued, enough to keep me wanting to come back and see the rest of the series. So I think it was a pretty solid episode. There was a lot of pacing issues that I found with the episode. Watching it, there was moments where I was like, okay, this kind of feels a little draggy. It feels like this part could have been completely not included at all whatsoever. And then there was other moments that I'm like, okay, I see what they're doing. It's a nice build-up phase. I see the intention and I see what they're trying to do and trying to achieve with the first episode. So I'm like, okay, I'm here. There's enough in here to bring me towards the next episode. So if you don't know anything about Dune Prophecy, the first episode, this is going to contain some spoilers for some plot details. So please, if you have not seen the episode, please just stay away from this. But the show actually starts about 10,000 years before the events of Dune, and it's focusing more on the Bene Gesserit sisterhood and how the origins came to be. It touched a little bit on a war where humans fought thinking machines, obviously led by the Atreides. All advanced AI and all thinking machines were pretty much banned after this. And the Harkonnens, which is narrated by Valya Harkonnen, which is the main character here, and we'll talk more about her. But the Harkonnens, apparently, according to the way that Valya has expressed and narrates the story, they were branded as cowards because they did not choose to participate in the conflict, which led to their exile. So Valya is set to restore her family's honor in some type of way, her and her sister Tula, and they join this new sisterhood on Wallach 9. So I think the beginning of this episode, when we saw all of that, I'm like, okay, first of all, the first thing that caught my mind was the music. I really love the music in the beginning of that sequence. It felt, to me, the show feels Dune, but it's missing some things. But again, I'll say most of my thoughts on that. But I felt like the first episode really, like, at least the beginning of that portion there, really like kind of drew me into music. It's setting up this stage, building it up pretty well, shows you how many years, you know, things are taking place in, like how many years before the first Dune movie or before Paul was born, and then how many years after this whole thinking machine war happened, and who are these leaders, and who's Valya Harkonnen, which I don't know much about. As I said, I'm not a Dune expert, but you know, we're seeing all of these different sides, and I'm like, okay, I'm liking where this is going so far. I'm like, the presentation's good, loving the music, loving it, loving the whole color scheme, how everything looks, loving it. Feels pretty good so far. So we meet this character named Rakella, and she is someone who was leading or led a faction of somewhat, that part a little unclear to me. But she participated in the war against the thinking machines, and she starts this sisterhood. And the whole point is she's trying to create these perfectly genetic beings that they can shape and rule to do whatever they want to do and how they see fit for the universe. Now, as time goes on, Rakella is approaching her death. And there's this sort of faction that starts to, like, different factions that start within the sisterhood, people who disagree with this whole selective breeding process that she's trying to do. And then obviously there's Valya Harkonnen, who is very much for this process. She's very much for this sense of control over the destiny and obviously the protection of herself, her sister, and the sisterhood and where things want to go. So she's the one that is sharing Raquel's vision and what she wants to do. And then we have Raquel's granddaughter, Mother Dorothea, who opposes the entire program. She doesn't like it. She seems as that they're playing God, according to her words. And Raquel is the one that appoints Valya, actually, to be the one to continue the destiny as to what she wants to do and how she would like to see the sisterhood continue. Obviously, there's a disagreement there between Mother Dorothea and Valya. And Valya, this is the first time we see in the episode that the voice was used. Now, prior to this, I actually thought that this was just a technique because they were known as truthsayers. So I thought this was just some technique that everyone did. It was just something that was already there from the beginning. But it seems that prior to Raquel's death and Valya stepping in, this wasn't something that people did. So she uses the voice for the first time. And obviously Dorothea is like very shocked by this. She's like, what the heck is going on? She's like, I don't know what's going on with this. So she's like, this is something that I want to teach you. This is something that I want to do that I think that can help protect the sisterhood, that can help protect our destiny where we want to go. Obviously Dorothea does not like this. She uses the voice to make Dorothea slit her own throat. And that was a very, very strong opening, very graphic scene, but like it really sets the stage for what we're going to be seeing for the rest of the series. At least I hope, and this is just what I'm going off of episode 1. At least I hope that's the case. At least we get to see more of these serious moments with very strict consequences. And obviously throughout the rest of the episode, we'll get to that. So 30 years passed by, the sisterhood expanded, and Valya is now doing a lot of these strategic things that we have seen the Bene Gesserit do in the previous movies and in the books, of course, if you read some of them. And she's trying to orchestrate an empress to be on the throne, a Princess Inez Corrino, and who is from the current royal family, the current Imperials. And she wants to somehow orchestrate to have one of their own that they can control, that they can have a full hand in to be on the throne so that they can protect the way or shape the way that they want to do and protect Raquel's vision. Now, there's this weird thing because we see Prince Inez and she's fighting someone who we later find out is an Atreides soldier or an Atreides trainer. And she's fighting and she's training. There's this big sexual chemistry going on between the two of them. Beginning of the episode, you can already see that. We get an introduction to Inez's brother, and we start to get a lot of these other characters coming in together. So from the get-go, Inez is a very strong character. You can see her prowess. You can see the type of actor she is, and like her character. Her character is very strong from the very beginning. So I was immediately drawn to her character. I liked how she presented herself, her firm ground, her stance on things. And obviously we get to see some other people, and there's a relationship between her and Kasha, which is someone who grew up with Valya back on Block 9, and that's something that we'll touch on a little bit towards the end of the review and the end of the episode when we get there. But Inez was such a very strong character. I'm like, okay, she the way how she presents herself, the way how her character is introduced, I liked it. I like the way that they set her up, and I'm looking forward to see what to do with her character. Now we found out that there's this marriage that's supposed to happen between Inez and this 9-year-old by the name of Pruitt, and based on an alliance that his father made with my man Mark Strong so that he can get more ships on Arrakis to help him win this war that he's trying to have more control over Arrakis. We know Arrakis, the spice, and everything in between. Now we see my man Travis Fimmel, Desmond Hart, his character, this soldier we found out that should have died on Arrakis, that walks in to this throne room. And first of all, I want to say this about Travis Fimmel's character. I love Travis, and I love everything that he's done. I mean, for those of you guys who've known him way back, like when they used to air Vikings on the History Channel before it moved over to different channels, when they used to air Vikings on the History Channel, he was a great Ragnar. So I love his character. And obviously, I was one of the few people that watched Raised by Wolves. So he had a character in Raised by Wolves that was very similar to Desmond. I'm like, did they just pluck his character from Raised by Wolves and just make him Desmond Hart? I just felt like they literally just copied the same character from Raised by Wolves and put it into Dune Prophecy. I just felt like he's literally playing the same exact character. But Desmond seems to be this mysterious guy. You know, he just walks in and he obviously, I mean, they picked Travis has the best like sus face. Like you can just look at his character, like he knows how to make his characters look sus. Like you just want to look at them and they know they're up to something. Like when he played Ragnar, you never knew exactly what he was doing, but you knew he was up to something. So his face was just this mischievous curious, mysterious face, and you just knew he was up to something. Same thing with his character in Raised by Wolves. The same exact kind of principle, same thing behind it. So he has this very similar character here. He's telling a story, and obviously, I'm going to keep saying Mark Strong, at the Emperor, he tells Asha, his truthsayer, hey, obviously she's working with the other guys and working with all the other Bene Gesserit to get this big plan going. And he looks at her and he's like, okay, can you tell me if he's telling the truth? So obviously she looks and says, he's telling the truth, or at least he believes he is. So you can tell that there's something going on with Desmond. We don't know exactly what's going on with him yet, but we know something's going on with him. So anyway, so he's leaving the throne room. He gives this, again, another sus face to Kasha. And Kasha's like, oh, we all shocked because we don't know what he did to her, what happened there. So as things get towards the end, we'll skip a little bit more towards this episode, and the actual engagement ceremony happens, which is very weird and awkward for everyone, not just for the viewers, but for the characters too. Everyone was really awkward about this entire arrangement. No one seemed to be happy about this. So it was very odd. It was very strange and weird, but it happened and whatever. And then there's this big moment where Pruitt, he has this toy at this reception ceremony, and he takes it out, and it appears to be a thinking machine, and everyone starts to freak out and everything like that. So and obviously, Mark Strong doesn't want to mess up the arrangement that he made, this deal that he made. So he just tells everyone to calm down for now. Let's move on from this. But then here's when we get to see the strength of Inez. She is out here, threatening this kid. If you do this again, I will stab you myself. So she wasn't playing around with this kid, and you can start to see the kind of person that she is and why Valya might have chosen her. So to go back to Wallach 9, because it's the parts I missed over there, but we get to see them training and how they go about truth saying, and we get a little bit of the insight of the plan. Obviously, the Harkonnens are trying to get a truth sayer. They've been denied. Valya is denying them one. We obviously know she whatever reason or whatever real plan she actually has behind this is yet to be seen as to why she's denying the Harkonnens a truth sayer and why they denying them one, but we'll find out. And you're starting to see these training regiments, these new group of young women who are going to become Bene Gesserit, or at least hoping to become one day. And they're all training. There's different tactics. We see this little girl who just seems to be a really good empath, and then there's one who's a pathological liar, but there's also some truth to what she's saying. So there's this whole thing going on, but they're setting up all these characters and who we can potentially see go with Inez when she finally makes it over to Wallach 9. So anyway, by the time we get to the end of the episode, we see some crazy stuff between Desmond and, obviously he's trying to convince Mark Strong somehow that, listen, I believe, I should have died in Arrakis, but I did. And, here's what happened to me. Here's all this stuff going on, all this, he's sounding like some religious type of person, really just going into what he believes, what happened there. And then Mark Strong said the thing, listen, if something happens because obviously he's not happy about this marriage arrangement, but he's like, if something happens to get rid of this marriage arrangement, then I'll believe in God. And so shortly after that, we see Desmond talking to Pruitt in a hallway, and he gets to, he's telling him all these tales and whatnot, and all of a sudden he tells him his sacrifice won't be in vain, and then he starts to burn up. Pruitt starts to burn without Desmond touching him, and that's the part that was a little crazy. I'm like, what the hell is actually happening here? I have no idea. But that's when I was like, oh, okay. This is shocked. And I actually showed, I watched the episode first and I showed it to Shan, and then she had the same exact reaction. So it's like, what the hell is happening here? But simultaneously, we see Kasha, which I said I'll touch on a little bit. Kasha, back on Wallach 9, is actually having this scenario as well. Her skin's burning. We don't know why. And it seems to be, I don't know if Desmond placed some weird thing on her that, she has to didn't ward off, some type of nanotech. I have no idea as of episode 1. So, Kasha clearly had this big connection with Inez. She raised her, they found her, they were trying to shape her to become this thing from the very, very beginning, because obviously that's what they do. They plant these seeds, they make these things happen, and yada, yada, yada. So Kasha had this very deep connection. She went back to 9 trying to explain that, we shouldn't, maybe Inez isn't the one, maybe we need to find some other thing, because clearly she has this big attachment to her. So we'll have to see what happens the next episode when Inez actually gets to Wallach 9, what happens with there. So to wrap up my thoughts after I just commented briefly on what was happening here, I really felt like there was enough here to keep me into the series. I really think that the plot line is strong enough for me to want to continue to watch. I don't know how strong the next few episodes will be, so I can't say for now that I recommend watching the entire show. But I can recommend that if you enjoyed Dune, the first 2 movies at least, and you have an interest in the world and the lore, I think there's enough there for you to at least check out the first episode yourself and see if you enjoyed it and if you would be interested in watching the rest. I think there's enough there to continue watching the show. Personally, again, we'll see what happens when I get to the end of the series and how I feel then, and I'll be able to tell you exactly like how I'm feeling about the entire series as a whole. But as of right now, I think it's worth giving a shot and going for it. So yeah, that's it for this episode, guys, and this review, little recap as well. Just a commentary talking about the episode. I enjoyed it, and I think you should give it a go. If you did see the episode, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. If you saw the series, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Please avoid spoilers for the rest of the episodes. I still have to watch the rest of the series. Let me know your thoughts down below. I'm interested to hear what you have to say, and I look forward to making another video of this. I had fun doing this, and this is the first official video back after months, like actually doing content. So I'm excited to continue doing these, but that's it. Yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Clockmaster